Metzorah, chapter 14, verse 1. Arya, would you read the first two psukim for us? Beautiful. We're doing Parshas Metzorah. You know what a Metzorah is, Tommy? Okay. Anybody know what a Metzorah is? Do you know what a Metzorah is, Jonathan? That's really.
That's a person who has Sarah.
Yeah, a Metzorah is somebody who has tzarat. And do you know what tzarat is, Tommy? Did they teach you that? It's a skin disease, which the rabbis understand to be caused by a spiritual condition, and the only treatment for it is a spiritual condition, a spiritual treatment. Now you go to the Kohen. So, as Aryeh read, this is the law. We're chapter 14, verse 1. Yeah. Zotia Torah Metzorah. This is the law of the Metzorah. Rashi says, Muhammad, he doesn't go through the purification process at night. No one goes through the purification process during the day. Biyom Tarato, on the day of his purification, and he is brought to the Kohen. Okay, Tani, you read the next pasuk. V'yatza Kohen. Exactly. So the Yatzah Kohen, and the Kohen will go outside the camp, and the Kohen will look at the affliction that the tzarat affliction on the person. What's a Kohen? Why does the Kohen need to look at it? He goes outside the camp. So which camp is he going outside of? Rashi tells us this is actually related to the Daf Yomi for today, so it's doubly relevant. So Rashi tells us, everything okay, Eliezer? Baruch Hashem. So Rashi tells us he goes outside of three camps where the Metzorah was sent in the days of his absoluteness. What does that mean? So how many camps are there in the wilderness? Three. What are those three camps? That's called the Machane Shechina, the camp of God. That's where the Mishkan was. Then there's the Machane Leviah, the Levitical camp, and then there's the Israelite camp. When the Jewish people entered into the land of Israel, and they built the Beit HaMikdash, these three camps translate into the temple, the Beit HaMikdash, the Har HaBayit, the Temple Mount, and the city of Jerusalem. So a person who's Tamei Mate was allowed to go. If somebody touched a dead body, what are they not allowed to enter? They're not allowed to enter the Beit HaMikdash, the area of the courtyard of the temple, or in the time of the wilderness, the Machane Shechina. The person who has Tumah Yotzei Min HaGuf, Tumah that comes out of the body, he's prohibited from being in which camp? The Levite camp. And the sanctuary. In addition to the sanctuary, also the Levite camp. And then the person who is a Metzorah, he's not allowed to be in the... I'm sorry? Right, he's not even allowed to be in the Israelite camp. So that's what it means. He goes outside of three camps. Nowadays, this is what those who go on the Temple Mount, which I do, you have to be careful, to not go into the part of the Temple Mount where we think with reasonable certainty that that's where the temple was. You could be on the Temple Mount around that area, but even there, you're not allowed to go if you have tumah that comes out of your body. So a man has to go to the mikvah before he goes on the Temple Mount. For a woman, it's more complicated because a woman is only supposed to go to a mikvah when her husband is in town. She's not just supposed to go to the mikvah otherwise. And also, she's not supposed to go to the mikvah but when her husband is in town, she is, since there's the possibility she's with her husband, she's also tumah from that. So therefore, the only time a woman could go is before she's married, when she goes to the mikvah before the wedding. She goes 3 days before the wedding, she goes to the mikvah, and then in that time period, she's allowed to go to the Temple Mount. And that's what a lot of women have done. That's what a lot of women have done. They've gone in Israel, they've gone to the mikvah in the days before they get married, and that's when they go to the Temple Mount. So in the time of the Torah, the person who was the leper, the Metzorah, he was not allowed to be in the camp at all. He had to go outside the camp of the Israelites. He had to be beyond the camp. That would be like, let's say he's in Olney or Gaithersburg. That's just a joke about Olney or Gaithersburg. Have you ever been there? Yeah. Very far, right? Okay, all right. I'll read the next verse. So now we go through the purification process of the Metzorah. So the Kohen goes out to greet him. Why does the Kohen have to go out? He can't come in. He's got this ritual impurity. Mitzivah Kohen, the Kohen shall command, mitaher, and he shall take for the person being purified, shtei tziporim chayot torot, 2 pure birds. He doesn't tell us what type of bird. What? The paraduma is with a red heifer. Well, yeah, they're going to do it. It is a ritual similar to the paraduma, but it doesn't say what type of bird it is. It doesn't say what type of bird. Let's see what the Torah Tamima says. You could ask, wait, what are you drinking there, Tani? You drink bai? You're the only one I've ever met who drinks bai like me. I've never seen another person drinking bai. Wow, that's huge. Okay, let's see. What's that? It's huge. I'm honored. I'm honored. Uh, um, does it say what type of bird? I don't know. I never thought about that. What type of bird is used for the Metzorah?
Well, you would think that given acceptable birds.
That's by a sacrifice, but this is not a sacrifice. It's outside the temple. So I'm trying to remember if the Talmud spoke about it. I'm asking them. I'm asking AI. AI is going to take all our jobs except for mine. Any kosher bird. Where does it say that? Do they give you a citation?
Yeah, I can't write.
You can't write a Torah, correct. Oh, Sota. It must be no. Oh, no. They don't say that here. According to Gemini, the Torah uses the word sipor. While this word could generally, the rabbinic tradition says it's a wild bird, commonly understood as sparrows. This Talmud identifies this as, in Chulin 62a, says Tzipori Dror. Interesting. But we'd have to look up that citation.
Well, it says it here, right?
Where? Oh, in there. No, the Chumash doesn't call it a tzipori drawer.
Well,
You mean in their footnote?
yeah.
What did it? Please read it.
It says the Torah mentions unspecified bird for sparrow, sparrow, or some or to another small chirping bird, which like
It's interesting. Yeah, but it is a sparrow kosher. So you have to have a tradition to have a bird that's kosher. So there was like one community somewhere that kept eating a sparrow once a year to keep the tradition alive, like one community. But like ask Claude, is a sparrow a kosher bird? So there's a difference of opinion about that. And I remember with some people say it's kosher, like some communities have a tradition, but most don't have the tradition. So if you served me a sparrow today, I wouldn't eat it, obviously. So if you say it's a sparrow, then it's not a kosher bird. Wow, this is very. How did I never think about that? I've read this so many times. This is why we have to keep reading it every year. Every year we learn something new, Tommy. Okay, every day. No, but I'm saying when we look at the Chumash. Okay, so okay. Rashi says here. What do they say to you, Aryeh? Not kosher or kosher? They have to say cite your sources. See, this is a tricky one because it's an argument. Let me ask Gemini. What? It's a machokes between all the AIs. I mean, my recollection is that sparrow is only kosher in one community. Let's see what they say. Ah, he says the question of whether a sparrow is kosher is basically an argument. Thank you. Wow, Gemini is very good. Technically, yes, the sparrow is considered kosher bird in rabbinic tradition. However, it's not commonly in today because of a lack of Metzorah, a lack of tradition. It has the simanim, but even though the sparrow meets the anatomical requirements, most Jewish communities do not eat it because they don't have the tradition. What?
It's such a small.
Yeah, you could slaughter it. Yeah, it has. Yeah, you could slaughter it. It has trachea and esophagus. These are the signs of a kosher bird. It has to have an extra toe, a crop, and a gizzard that can be peeled by a hand. The sparrow has that. Some say it can't be a bird of prey. Anyway, but there are some communities that do eat the sparrow. Let me see which one. Okay, and then I'm done with the AI. Because I'll tell you a story about AI. There was oh my God, no, I think I busted them. They can't answer. There was a magazine that wrote an article. Oh, the Yemenite and the Moroccans eat the sparrow. They eat it. No, yeah, but they eat the sparrow. Yeah. Okay, so I knew it. My mechutin is Moroccan. I'll ask him if he's eating sparrow. I'll ask him. They eat them. Pigeon is kosher. Yeah, pigeon is kosher. But the sparrow, Ashkenazi, so according to this, and this tracks with what I know, with what I remember, that only like these isolated communities like Yemen and Moroccan Jews eat it. Yeah, are you? Very no. Bird is very easy to shecht. You just pull back the head, make it taut, and if you know how to do shlita, you have to learn how to do shlita. I could teach you, but yeah, you could catch a pigeon. Fish, you don't need shlita. You could just kill it. You could even eat the fish. No, you have to. You can't eat it raw. You can't eat it live, but you have to kill it. Lamb or sheep is harder to shuck, but the same concept. I know. I only did. I have Kabbalah. I have it downstairs. It means approval to do shlita, but only for poultry, for birds. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Let me text my son. Hold on. Okay. Um, okay, so the birds you take are chayos. They can't be treifos. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Would the problems, how are the problems of the basic of the problems? Until they tell it by like
So the carbons of the base of Mikdash were killed by the Kohen. They were not done through Shlita. They were done through the process of Malika, where the Kohen stuck his thumb, the nail on his thumb, through the back of the neck of the bird. And that was a special verse that was killed in a different manner. It was not killed with Shlita, it was killed through Malika. Only for the base of Mikdash, only for the Chatas Ha'of, which is actually um, uh, one of the, we learned about it earlier this morning with the woman who is poor and she gives birth. She brings that. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, he would grow out his nail. Yeah. Anyway, the shoftim, typically speaking, have one nail longer so that they can check the knife. You're supposed to check the knife to make sure there's no nicks in it, and you could check either with a fingernail or you could check it with your tongue because you can feel it with your tongue. It doesn't hurt, but it's just a little gross because you're slaughtering the bird and then you put the neck on. You put the Yeah, but you're slaughtering all day. That's part of the problem now with the shechita that they do. They're in like these companies that slaughter like thousands of birds a day. They don't have time to check their knives. It's like physically impossible. They have to kill a bird like every 15 seconds. And it's just like they're doing like somebody came here and once he worked there, he says that they have to do like I think like 100 an hour. It's like some crazy number where you say like, how is it even possible to have kosher chicken when you think about that? So I always felt like the most kosher food in the entire
Omar's
city.
father was
What?
fired. Omar's father was fired as a shochet because he didn't kill enough chickens.
Yeah, my father's telling. He's speaking on the Zoom. He says that my grandmother, his mother's father, his name was Elimelech, he was fired because he didn't kill enough chickens in the day. They gave you a quota. So if you have to check your knife, and yeah, they have a quota. If you don't hit your quota, you're done. So they're working for a number. It's not about kosher. I mean, so that's why, like, by far, the least shilos is in vegan, vegetarian restaurants. Once you go to meat and chicken, you're relying on so many leniencies before you even get to the restaurant. So But the Jewish community loves its meat and chicken. We just read about it. Also, fish is basically no questions about fish. Like, what could the question be? Doesn't require the shechita. Anyway, I don't know how we got into this tangent, but what? I know, but it's all good. It's all Torah study. Okay, so let's continue. Baruch Hashem. So it says, and he's supposed to take, the Kohen shall take the two birds and eight is cedar wood, ushnituas and crimson thread, and hyssop. Why does he take these things? Actually, Rashi answers the question that I asked. What kind of bird can you take? Rashi says you have to, if the Torah says two birds that are tahor, and Rashi says you can't take a non-kosher bird, pratla of tameh. So you can't take a non-kosher bird. Rashi says chayos pratla trefos. You can't take a bird that's trefa, that means it has a mortal wound, or a bird that's not kosher. That's what the Gemara tells us. You can't take a non-kosher bird. So Rashi doesn't mention about the sparrows. But here we go. The Torah Tamima talks about it. Torah Tamima he talks about it. He says, as follows, because it says later on in the parasha, it says, you shall take the kosher bird, the bird that's not killed, and you send it away on the field. And the Gemara in Kedushin tells us, this bird that's sent away, you're allowed to eat. And the Torah says, why? Because it sends it out. And the Torah wouldn't tell you to send it out if it wasn't allowed to be eaten. So it's allowed to be eaten, meaning to say, if it would be prohibited, the Torah wouldn't let you do it. And okay, so what kind of so we see from here that he doesn't mention anything about it being a tzipor drawer. He doesn't mention that it's that it's one of these sparrow birds, just a kosher bird. But the Torah Tamima says on our verse, he says he will talk about it, but he doesn't get into it. He says we'll talk about it in Pasuk. Oh, Pasuk. Maybe it's Pasuk and Gimel. Let's see. Hold on, because I don't see the comment on it. Let's see. Okay, fine. Here we go. It says in verse 53, "V'shilachat tzipor chaya," and he sends a bird that's alive outside the field. And he achieves atonement. So here we quote the Gemara, Rabbi Yosef Omer, he sends it outside the city. And what type of bird is this? Here he's quoting the Midrash. He says, this is a tzipor dror, a free bird. So we know that it's a kosher bird, because why would the Torah tell you to send out that you're allowed to eat it? And it's according to the Torah's Kohanim, it is a tzipor dror, a kosher bird. So let's see what the Torah Tamima says. Tzipor dror. Why is it called a drawer? Because it lives in the field. And Rashi says it knows how to hide in the corners. And so therefore it's called drawer. Drawer means freedom. Okay. What is this? So Torah Tamima lived in the 20th century. He says, what is this tzipor drawer? So Rashi says in Mishlei that it's called rondola in French. What's rondola in French? Rondola. Anybody want to look that one up? Rondola in French? He spelled, I guess, Rondela. R-O-N. Oh, in Germany, it's called a Stulba. Svalba. I don't know. German is, and the Aruch, he writes. Okay, so maybe it's like a swallow. That would be my guess. A svalba. That sounds like the word swallow. But the problem is, he says that he has another early source that says that the tzipor drawer is not found where people live because it doesn't want anybody to catch it. And if a person catches it, he'll kill himself. So therefore, it's not the swallow because the swallow is very common. Anyway,
He doesn't reference Tehillim.
what?
He doesn't reference Tehillim.
No, he referenced Rashi to Mishnah.
Right. So in Tehillim 84:4, there's a verse Gam tzipor matza bayit udror karen la. We used to
Okay,
sing
fine.
that in Shal
Yeah.
Shudas.
Yeah. Anyway, he doesn't identify it. He doesn't
And then it
identify it.
actually is called a tzipor, and tzipor is a general word, but it usually would be off, right? So
He doesn't. The Torah Tamima does not tell us what it is. It's very interesting. We're not sure what this bird is to this day. Torah Tamima. So, how would we do this purification process if we don't know what the bird is to use? Okay, well, stop. Judah.
Yes.
First of all, Judah has recovered. He was in the hospital in Mexico. Yeah, he and also somebody sent me a YouTube video of you, Judah, that you're walking past a woman dancing and you start dancing with her. Did you see that?
No.
You didn't see that?
Oh, the TikTok, yeah.
No, not TikTok, on YouTube. She has 73,000 followers. You're famous.